What's up, Lash Fam? Welcome back to my channel, guys, for another helpful lash video. Today I'm going to show you guys how I make my fans. I have my 0.03s and my 0.05s here, so we're going to separate the video into two. I'm going to show you how I use the 0.05s and also how I make the 0.03s. I'm going to go over my tweezer collection with you guys just to show you which tweezers work best with which lashes, which ones I prefer, things like that. I also am going to share with you guys how to properly use dark matter. You guys have been asking about that a lot. I do have the crystal jade stone available. It does work absolutely amazing with dark matter because it is a real stone, so it doesn't have any effects with dark matter. I recommend that. Also, if you guys have any questions about what I'm doing in this video, make sure you give a comment down below. I will be in the comments for about an hour after the video launches, per usual. So let's jump in. Okay, so we're going to talk about dark matter for a minute. Dark matter has a lot of pros and cons, and there's a lot of people who have different opinions on it, but I'm going to show you guys how I work with it. So there are a few different ways to work with dark matter. You want to get your stone, and I use it with a piece of foil. The reason why I use the foil is because I have a ton of clients each day, and I don't like to have to clean the stone each time. So applying foil to the stone and just throwing away that foil and getting a new one is just a lot more convenient. It also does keep the glue fresh throughout the whole service, so you don't have to worry about switching it out that much. Okay, so that is how you use dark matter. Now I'm going to show you guys my tweezer collection, which you guys have probably already seen, but I'm going to go through each one and kind of show you guys what they're for. And a lot of tweezers are preference, so it all comes down to what you prefer versus what every other person is using. So just try all the tweezers you can, and once you find the one that works best for you, stick with it. Okay, so our first tweezer is the boot tweezer, and this is your traditional volume tweezer. It is great for making your volume fans. It does close completely, so I do recommend anyone who is either learned with the boot tweezer to continue with it, or if you are new to volume lashing, this is a great tweezer to start with. So boot tweezer closes completely at the tip. You won't have any lashes fly out of that. And again, all of these are preference. There's no right or wrong. It's just what you're most comfortable with. So I have also added our 35-degree tweezer. Now I have the 45, so I want to just compare so you guys can see the difference here. 35 is obviously a smaller angle than the 45, and it does have a smaller tip. So preference again, but with the 35, it is a smaller tip, so you have to be a little bit more precise when picking it up, your volume fans, especially those mega volume fans. So I suggest if you are new to volume lashing that you stay away from the 35 degree. It is a little bit more harder, and to stick with more of a 45 or a boot tweezer because there is more of a tip, so you have a lot more room when you're picking up those fans. So I do prefer the 45-degree tweezer and the boot tweezer when I'm making my fans. A lot of people ask what I use and what I prefer. It is those two. Now we're going to move on to the curved tweezer. I use this for isolation. I always have. Some people actually use this to pick up. I don't recommend it. I would suggest using this just for isolation, and because it is very long, it gives extra room when you're trying to find those smaller fans, so definitely try this for your isolation. And then we have our straight tweezer. Now this can be used for both isolation and classic pickup, and I use it for classic pickup myself, but again, people do use it for isolating, and that is just up to you. You can decide between the curved or the straight. And then we have our rose gold tweezer. This tip is a 45-degree tip, but it is longer than our 45-degree angle tweezer. So that is the difference between these two. The rose gold can again be used for isolation and or pickup. It is again just up to you. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is get our lashes. I have our 0.03s here, and then I also have our D curl in 0.05. I'm going to be using size 11 for both of them just to show you guys. I have our tweezer collection here, which I am going to grab my 45-degree angle tweezers, which are my favorite to work with. And then we have our dark matter on our foil, and then we want to give it a good shake. Usually you want to shake your glue for about 30 seconds to a minute. Okay, and then you want to drop it onto here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the 0.03s on one side and then the 0.05s on the other side to show you guys how I work with them. But first we're going to place them on. I place lashes on the back of my hand. If you're not comfortable with that, you can place it on your lash tray or on your, wherever you lash from. So we're going to get these. So the top is going to be our 0.03s. So you want to make sure you give these lashes a good brush, so get your spoolie and brush them pretty roughly. Sure to help separate the lashes. Sometimes because they are easy fanning, glue does get into the lashes itself, so giving them a brush will help separate that if that happens. Alright, so we are going to jump in. Okay, so we have our glue, and remember when we use dark matter, we want to let it sit for about 5 minutes. So this glue is good to go. Now I have my 0.03s here and my 0.05s here. First thing we want to do when working with my lashes is we want to remove some lashes from the strip. So we're going to go ahead and just remove. We need the space to fan out lashes, so we have to remove. If you already have a strip that doesn't show or doesn't have lashes on it, you can go ahead and use that. But since these are new ones, we're going to remove. Okay, so since I have enough room here, I'm going to take my 0.5s and fan it from the same line. And then afterwards, I'm going to place them onto here for you guys. So this is the 0.03, and I am using my 45-degree tweezer. It is just my favorite tweezer to use from the collection. So when you grab, you want to come in and follow this top line and pinch and then pull forward slowly. And then we're going to drop it below the line and use the tip to fan out. And as you get more space on your strip, it is a lot easier to work with the lashes. And then you can always pick it back up and drop it back down, fan it where you want it. And then we are going to grab our fan and get our glue and just swipe it from the back. We don't want too much glue because our glue will make our fan close. So just one swipe and then we will apply it here on the strip. So this is our 0.03 volume fan. I'll show you guys again how I do that. And I do not count the lashes, I just grab. And if you grab too many, that's okay. You're able to remove as you go depending on your client's natural lashes. And so you're able to customize each set to your client. It is very important when you grab them that you pull away slowly to avoid any lashes falling off. So again, just swipe back and apply onto your sponge. And once you get it all fully done, it looks really cool, so we're gonna do that. So when you are working with 0.3s, they are very lightweight, so you're able to do bigger fans than you are with 0.05s. You still want to be aware of your base of your lashes. We still want the very tip of them to be thin. Again, we can cause damage with 0.3s just like we can with 0.7s and 0.5s, so we want to be aware, especially of our client's natural lashes and how we're applying the lashes onto the natural lash. So just be aware. Okay, so 0.03s are great for mega. That is what they're used for. And if you're not familiar with mega volume, I suggest doing a class on it. See, obviously this base is way too thick, but we're gonna remove it, and we want to fan it out before we start removing just to see what our fan looks like. So we're gonna remove and pull off slowly. Now our base is still thin, so we're able to use a fan this big. Okay, now I'm going to show you guys how I work with my 0.05s. Same concept as we do with our 0.03s. We always want to take off the first couple. They're never really that great. So again, pull forward. With these, we need to be a little bit more aware of how big our fans are because they are heavier than our 0.03s. And you can still get a great coverage with the 0.05s. If you're not into super mega volume looks, then 0.05s are great because they still give great good coverage and they're not as dark as our 0.03s when you're doing a full volume with it. So the concept's the same. We're doing the same exact thing. That's what's great about my lashes. They're very easy to work with no matter what diameter you choose. We will be carrying 0.7 soon, so be on the lookout for those. What we want, when I do my fans, it's important that you drop it below this line here, and it's important that we use the very tip of our tweezer. And we're just guiding the fans where we want them to go. We're not just poking at it for no reason. We're putting the fan where we want it. And once we get it there, I'm gonna pick it up. Glue. So there's a couple tips I'm going to give you guys for when applying glue, and a lot of people ask me if I apply underneath or on top. I apply both ways. It just depends on my client's natural lash. So we want to make our fans, and we're going to remove because this base is thick. Fan it out. Take one more off. Okay, so when applying the glue and we're dropping it underneath, we're going to swipe up with the glue because we want the glue only on the top part of the lash extension. We don't want it on both because then it gets too heavy. So we're going to swipe up and apply the glue only on the top. Now if you were to apply underneath, you would do the same concept but go reverse. So you're just going to swipe on the back, and that allows for not too much glue to be on both sides, and you're able to apply it nicely onto the lash. So I go back to my 0.03s. They are lovely to work with. They fan super nice, and you're able to still get a super thin base with them. A lot of people ask me because they're easy fanning, do they work differently? They work the same. They're just easier to work with. So we're going to remove the ones we don't want. Sometimes if it's not fanning the way I like it, I like to pick it back up and drop it back down onto the strip. Then we're gonna grab it and swipe backwards and then drop it onto our lash line. And I'm going to show you guys the difference of what volume and mega volume looks like. You can see that it's a lot darker. You guys probably know this already, but it's just kind of cool to see a visual of it if you're new to lashing and don't really know the difference between mega and Russian volume. Russian is 0.05 and you're not able to make a super dark mega volume look with it. Luckily with my lashes you can still get what looks pretty close to mega with the 0.05s because they are so dark. Super easy to work with. This is how I do it. It can be just as easy. It's just a lot of practice. I'll show you one more time our 0.05s. And if you ever have fans that don't seem to open very well, you just take your tweezer and slide them up through the lash, and that will help separate the lashes that may be stuck together. So when I'm making my fans, I'm checking my client's natural lash before deciding how thick of a fan I'm going to make. And so I definitely recommend you guys do that as well. We are making custom sets, so every lash that we make is different because each lash is different. So sometimes I make bigger fans, sometimes I make smaller fans. It just depends on what lash I'm lashing. And that's how I stay consistent in my sets, is I create them as I go. So we're gonna fan this one a little bit wider. I do like to make wide fans because when you pick up the lashes, they tend to close just a little bit. So the wider the better for me, and I do like the way it looks in a set a lot more. So this is our 0.05. The tip is still very thin, and this is a 3/6. This is a 90 fan right here. So swipe back. Remember, too much glue will cause your fans to close. We don't want that. Another thing when you're making mega volumes is you don't have to worry about having a perfect symmetrical fan each time. You're not going to be able to see that in a set. You do, however, want to make sure that your base is always perfect. If our bases are off, the set is going to look messy. It's just going to cause problems. So when we're making our 0.03s, don't worry so much about having it super perfect fan. Just worry about your bases being 100% perfect. We also want to make sure our isolation's perfect. That is with any volume technique. But your fans should open about that easy for you guys, and you just come here in the center, take your tweezer and go back and forth until it opens where you want it. And make sure your pickup is very slow. These are our 0.3s that I've been using, which are my favorite to work with. They are available in mixed trays right now, and singlet trays will be here soon. So I'm going to show you our 0.5s. I like to grab a little bit more than I think I'm going to use, so that way if anything goes wrong during my fanning process, that I could just remove them. Okay, so we are going to finish these 0.05s, and then I'm going to show you guys the difference between the two. Now obviously on someone's natural lashes, they have multiple layers, so they will be a lot fuller and darker, but we'll get to see the difference between classic or volume and mega volume. And I want to show you guys one last thing. When I tell you guys to drop it below, it's because it is a lot easier to fan. It allows the lash or the little fans to move easier. And when I take it a little bit higher, it's a little bit more difficult to get in between each one of those. So dropping it below will just help you guys be a lot more efficient and faster when making your fans. All right, so this is the last one. So this is mega, and again, you would have multiple layers, so you'd get a more darker look. And then this is just Russian volume. So you guys can adjust your fans depending on your client's natural lashes. We don't want them to be too thick. We want our bases to be super thin, and you guys can practice making your fans on these as well. It's what we do in training, just to help get them to be more consistent. Something like this is a lot more effective than using the doll head, and you get to see your work afterwards as well. So this is your Russian 0.5s, and then your mega 0.3s, and you guys can make your fans create them however big you want. Just remember your base always needs to be perfect. Alright, Lash Fam, that's a wrap. Hope you guys liked the video. Don't forget to head over to our shop, lashesbykittens.com. Get your tweezer stand, and Tweezer's new collection is dropping in just 2 weeks, so be on the lookout for that. And I will see you guys soon.